Welcome to the SMWay podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Bader. An annual tradition is about to happen at Rawson Elementary School. And that's why third grade teacher Bill Gaynor has student art collected from the entire year, tucked in every corner of his classroom. Soon, that artwork will be gently placed into a box, wrapped with care by students, police officers, firefighters, and other volunteers, and delivered with notes of care and encouragement to area cancer patients, urging them to keep their spirits up and fight the cancer bully. In this episode, we'll hear from Mr. Gaynor about the Cancer Box Project and talk a little bit about his career as an educator and who his students are. A fitting tribute during Teacher Appreciation Week. So joining me today is third grade teacher Bill Gaynor. Bill, thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
So you have a special project coming up with your students. Can you tell me what it is?
It's called the Cancer Box Project, and we make cancer boxes for patients who are going through a tough time.
How did that get started?
A friend of mine, his mom, kind of like my second mom everybody has that they always hang out with at their house all the time, she got cancer. So I wanted to do something nice for her, and we made a banner and some things for her to hang up in her house. And that's morphed into, over the years, a cancer box that is now made and given to clinics where they can give to cancer patients.
Okay. And when was that?
About 8 years ago. This is my 8th year, I do believe, or my 9th year. And I have done... This will be, after this year, we'll have 240 boxes that have been given out.
Wow. And what's actually in the boxes?
Okay. In November, we make a turkey. I give them a paper, and I say, make your turkey. Whatever size turns out, that's what turns out. And December, I made an ornament where they put paint on the inside, and they turn it, and then it looks really nice. And they write, on the outside, they write notes. January, we make a snowman, a really cool snowman. They love it. And February, we make a happy little heart dancer and write a letter to them. And we make a leprechaun in March, and we write a letter to them. And we make a tile. We paint the tile, and it becomes a trivet for them to put stuff on. And our final was our April, we made a windsock, where they can hang up in their house, and it's got streamers, and it's a bunny, something like that.
So it's cumulative through the whole year. So how do you explain to the kids what you're doing way back in the beginning of the year?
I show them the video. Now I show them the video of that was done on the news, and on Facebook I show them the whole video of how it all got started. And then we start with our SMWay kindness character traits, and we pick character traits that we have, and we tie them into each activity that we do throughout the year.
Cancer can be a really heavy topic, and you have 9-10-year-olds. How do you talk to them about that?
Unfortunately, every year they talk about it because somebody has an aunt or a parent or a grandparent or things like that. So unfortunately, every year I have never had to explain it because I had the kid explain it to them. They talk about what happens and how hard it is.
Is it, hey kids, we're doing our project for our end of year boxes? How do you talk about that?
Every year we start off with the reason why we make the box, and then we make the first activity. It's the letter telling them to beat that cancer bully. That's the very first thing we do, and they draw a picture, and I save them.
So cancer bully, where'd that come from?
It just came out from because cancer's a bully. It just came out from doing these boxes. And after the second or third year, one of the kids said, yeah, that cancer's a bully. And I'm like, hey, that's a pretty good idea. Let's beat that cancer bully. And every year, that's what we've been put in ever since.
Got it. What are some of the things the kids write?
I make a letter, and they can copy my letter, or they can write their own. And when they write their own, they talk about their aunt, or they talk about, I've had kids talk about their friends who've had cancer, or their friends' parents, and stuff like that. And they tell them to beat that cancer bully. They tell them to keep fighting, don't give up. And those are some of the things that we talk about, and they kind of use those in their letters.
Since it's kind of woven through the year, those kind of messages about, sound applicable to children too. Don't give up, keep working, get over, get past this. How do you incorporate that into the classroom?
We talk about perseverance a lot, and kids struggle, and I always say, it's kind of funny where now I say give up and they go no. And that's what it's become now, is they don't give up, and with the mindset of I haven't done this yet, they changed that fixed mindset to a growth mindset through this whole project and through the school year. And we use those and the perseverance struggles to say, you guys struggle with that, they're struggling with cancer. And I had a lady come in one of the videos. The lady who got a project or a box came in Thanksgiving one year, and she came in and talked to my kids about it and what she was going through. So it's come full circle with those things, and these kids really, 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 I mean, some of them get it right away, some of them get it throughout the time, but when you connect it to their struggles and their perseverance, they get it.
Yeah. So you take all those art projects, and then this time of year, spring, you package them up and send them, right? Where do you send them?
Well, I package them up, but I don't do it by myself. I invite South Milwaukee Police has been in here. South Milwaukee firefighters have been in here. The school liaison officers, school board members, the mayor's been in here, and we wrap them all up together, and we write letters on them and write notes, keep fighting and all that. And I gave them to the South Milwaukee Clinic, Cancer Care Clinic in Cudahy, right on the border down there. I've given them to Fredert. My nephew was an oncologist resident there. He is now an oncologist doctor out in Waukesha, so I've given them to him there. I've given them to St. Luke's Heart Care Clinic. That was one of the first early ones I gave them to. I give them to clinics, and they give them out to patients. This year, I thought about changing it up. I have lots of some kids who say that they're aunts, so I give them their box to give to them. But I've thought about reaching out to school staff members, sure, anybody in the school system who has someone who would like this box. And first come, first serve, I only have 26 of them, but I'd be willing to give some of them to, that's where I thought I would go this year.
How do you make those connections with the clinics and stuff? Do you just call them up?
I have the one where the Paula Pauli came here. That clinic got hers because I just look around, and that one I found in searching on the internet. And I called them up, told them my whole project. She sent me her email. I sent her a video about it, and she said, yeah, please send. So I did. My nephew, obviously, the oncologist, I just gave it to him. And then I've just called cancer directors of cancer care clinics, and I emailed them and called them, and that's kind of how I give them out.
Do you ever get notes back?
If you take a look on that wall over there, those are notes, and stapled are emails. And when I get notes back, the kids are in 4th grade when I get them back, because I get them in the summer and they put them in my mailbox. And when I get them, I go to the 4th grade and I open them up and I show them the card. And then if I get an email, I take my computer to 4th grade, show them the email, and I let them respond back to the person as a closure, full circle closure. And they really seem to like that. And so that tells them that their character matters and what they did really matters. And then they know somebody got their box and really appreciated it. Yeah. And it makes a big difference.
What do the messages say? Do they all follow along a line?
They say, thank you for your support. Some of them tell that they're having this tough time and what kind of cancer they're having. Others say, wow, I was blown away by this gesture of kindness. Thank you so much. And that's basically what they're just so blown away from somebody just doing something for them like that when they didn't even think about it. So,
do you want to read one of the cards for me?
Sure.
Yeah.
This guy was a teacher. So this was a card I got They send me cards and then they put notes in them and it says, "Dear Mr. Gaynor and second grade students, you cannot know what a pleasure it was to receive your box filled with your beautiful artwork. A wonderful letter, gifts of extraordinary picture of the children who worked on this project. All of you definitely know the SMY characteristics well. You made my day. I want you to know that I'm now cancer-free and I'm on a rehab unit working hard to get my legs and my arms strong again. It has been a long journey, but I'm very thankful that I'm not on this road to go home. I'm on the road to going home again to my family and friends. I will always remember the kindness that you showed me when I was in my hard place. The lessons that you learned making the boxes are things that will stay with you for a lifetime. You should be very proud of your generosity to the patients. I hope you have a fun and safe summer vacation. Don't forget to keep reading during your summer break, and thanks again for your kindness. God bless you all. Gratefully, Ann Agruza."
That was a teacher?
No, that wasn't the teacher.
Oh, because it sounded like a teacher with the reading.
This one is a teacher. Thank you. Thanks all who are involved with this project. It has raised the spirits of this old man and the nurses who worked with me. I'll never forget your kindness. And his name was Ken Piaro.
Yeah, I see. He included a picture too. Mm-hmm. Talk a little deeper about how children seeing an effect that they can have in the world matters to them.
It makes a difference because if you think about the change that they're doing now and the little change that they make here, it leads to bigger change out in the world. And they have the power to make the change. And if they do this big act of kindness now, with all the little pieces that they put in, think of what they could accomplish out there with their acts of kindness. And all of the things that they could do for people, anybody, their neighbor, their coworker, their boss, who's having a tough time. All those acts of kindness that they're doing now make them who they are, and they can do that later on. And they do it because they love it.
So thinking through it, 8 years, so some of those kids are graduated and or starting, they're in high school now. Think back a little bit to those 8 years. How has it changed you?
I'd have to say it makes me continue to do this project. I think I won't ever stop until I retire. I won't stop doing this project because it makes a huge difference knowing that I am showing these guys how to make a difference in somebody else's life. And by this simple little task of making a letter in an art project, just something little. They don't have to know how to do a lot of things. I will continue to do this project because it lets them understand that they can make a huge difference by some little small act. And that's what gets me every day or every time I do this project.
Sure. So as an educator, it's your focus is on the kids. And how about that impact in the community, though? Because now if 240 different patients have gotten something from you.
Well, in the second year, when I was down in second grade, a man came back, and he came into my classroom because he got one of the bags at St. Luke's, and he wanted to give back because he thought, now this is a South Milwaukee resident, and he came back and brought markers and crayons and paper and color cards, everything he could think of that would let my kids be able to supplies for another box. He came back and he read the letters. He had 2 letters, one from a second grader and one from a 5th grader, and both of them were there and both of them were crying. And they gave hugs to him and everything. So that was one of the best connections I've ever seen, besides Paula Pauly coming to my house here, or my school. And then I went into Culver's, and Paula Pauly's niece works at Culver's in Oak Creek, and she goes, "Hey, Mr. Gaynor, you remember me?" And I said, "Yeah." And her mom was Paula Pauly's sister. So she just kept talking about how she remembered the day when I gave that box to her, and how her her aunt always talked about it. So that connection with those 2 community connections, I know there's more. I know there's people that whoever got them. I know my nephew raves about every time they give a box to somebody at his oncology level. They rave about the boxes. They love it because it brings their spirits up. So now I've met that community connection. And it's just, I don't know, it's just turned out to be something that I never ever thought would go this far. And I will continue to do it, and my kids will continue to do it, and we'll continue to support it through the SM way and tie those character traits into it. Kindness. There's a lot of kindness with these kids when they're doing it, and there's a lot of caring, and I mean, it's just a great project. Yeah. And it's something that I never thought would have come so far. And every time I think about it, every time my nephew talks about it, he says, my sister, they've seen those boxes given to people, and they're just awed at the result of what this little act of kindness that these kids can make her do.
So I introduced you as a third grade teacher, but obviously you've taught other grades, right? Is that why they say first grade, second grade, other things?
I taught second grade here at Rawson for 8 or 9 years, but I started here in third and then went down to second and then I went back. And when my friend's mom was going through that was when I was in second grade. And I just continued to keep going. So
you're in third grade now. Tell me what a third grader is. Who is a third grader?
A third grader is a kid who is learning to read, reading to learn, and they're finding their way. And just like any kid, they're finding their way with their friends, and they're figuring out, when you put them in situations, they're figuring out where they can go, how they can get there, and what they can do, what they know, and what they need help with. And they rely on me, and then I teach them to rely on their friends and other people in the class, because I'm not always going to be with them. And they're learning a lot of life lessons in the classroom.
So practicing generosity and kindness and respect and the other SMY traits. Generosity was on the list. It's got in there with kindness, but I guess you get better at what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, tomorrow we were supposed to, hopefully it won't rain. Tomorrow we go outside with our K4 buddies. And tomorrow is Kindness Day. So we're going to go do kindness stuff with chalk with our K4 buddies. And we're going to spend time with them outside on the sidewalk. Little things like that. And being a role model for the younger kids, I tell them, whatever you guys do, they're going to follow you. And so when you put them in that situation, they always rise to the challenge. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're doing for tomorrow, for kindness. And but, even cleaning up the classroom at the end of the day, being kind, picking up your area, leaving it so that somebody, can come in and vacuum and not have to pick everything up first before they vacuum. Stuff like that. Just little pieces of kindness, helping your friend out, being nice, kind words. Oh, that was great. Thank you. Just like that.
So we're getting close to the end of the year. You mentioned the alphabet because we're counting down the days with the days of the alphabet. And it's Teacher Appreciation Week. I'm wondering if you could talk and share with our listeners a little bit about the connection that you've had with these kids now that the year's wrapping up, and you've gone through that your whole career, I imagine.
I've found that every year having connections and relationships with kids is the biggest success you could do as a teacher. If you know your kids and you know them really well, when they have a bad day, you can approach them and ask them, I see you're having a tough time. Or, wow, you're looking awesome today. What did you do? When you know your kids, when they leave me and they go to 4th grade and 5th grade and so on, they still come back to me and say hi. Always. I have kids who come back to me in the hallway, say hi. I have kids who give me hugs. I have kids who just overall say hi to me every day. But they're older, or the kids that I haven't had, they know who I am. It's that relationship you have with, and that builds on what kind of personality you have. These kids are fantastic kids. They're doing a lot of great things, and I can't wait to see the little ones come up in 3rd grade and get to be on the 3rd grade on the top floor for the first time. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
But they are a great bunch of kids, and they have a lot to offer the world. All it takes is for somebody to give them a chance. And when you get to know them and you give them a chance, they're going to soar. And every year they come back to me and say hi to me. I see their older brothers and sisters picking up their brothers and sisters on the playground. Middle schoolers come by. Hey, Mr. G, how you doing? Every day. But if you put that relationship into it, you get everything else out of it. So
That's a great place to leave it. Mr. Gaynor, thanks for taking the time today to talk to us and share about the Cancer Box.
thanks for coming. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening to today's podcast, and thank you to Mr. Gaynor for inviting me into his classroom to share about that project. He expects in the next couple weeks to have everyone over to do the box packing. Hopefully we'll be able to have some coverage from that and to share it on our websites. Again, this is Yes My Podcast. Thank you for listening.